This is Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles from Safe Harbor Retirement Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Corey provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles.
Hello and welcome back to Financially Fit Radio. My name is Corey Sickles from Safe Harbor Retirement Group and Wealth Advisors. If you would like more information about what you hear during our show today, just give us a call at 614-760-0670 or feel free to visit us online at safeharboroh.com. And while you're on our website, click on that radio page. You can check out past shows and subscribe to our program on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, or Spotify. And also feel free to visit our YouTube page by typing in Safe Harbor Retirement Group to watch videos on different financial topics. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us with questions or if you want to set up a face-to-face or virtual meeting. And remember, all meetings are complimentary with no obligation. Well, today we're going to kind of dive into, I think it's a big topic today, and that is protecting yourself from digital scams. Seems like everyone's always trying to get a hold of your money, your passwords, your social security number. You can, anything that's going to be able to provide some personal information for them. So we'll dive into that topic. Before we do, let me introduce to you my co-host this week and every week, and that's Tony Shore. Tony, how are you today?
I am great. I'm loving the idea of this topic because, I don't know, I guess I'm getting older, but I'm starting to get hit up by a lot of these scams. Both on my cell phone via text and incoming calls, and online through my email and other things. So even Facebook, there are a lot of scams out there, and I'm glad we're going to talk about this today. I have some examples of my own that I haven't fallen for, but I've almost fallen for, and then realized it's probably a scam. Looked into it, and sure enough. But other than that, I've been great, Corey. I've really been, enjoying the weather. We finally got some rain up here in Minnesota. It was really dry for months, and now it's been raining every day, which is good and bad, right? Means I'm going to have to mow the lawn more often and can't do things outside like I want to, but I'm loving it. How about there? How's it going?
It's actually good. It's hard to believe we're already here in the middle of July.
I know.
And, we're like less than, 60 days away from college football starting.
Can you believe that?
Time flying.
That's amazing.
Time is just flying by. So, but things are good here. Of course, with summer, it gets a little, I do take a little bit. I try to, get out of the office a little bit because it seems like a lot of people are out there vacationing and doing, so those sort of things. So for us, this is probably the quietest time of the year, July, and it's mainly July and the first part of August, and then it'll pick back up again. But
sure.
So things are going good. But I think this is actually a good topic. What we're talking about is just doing things. Hopefully, you're being smart about things so you don't actually get scammed. Whether it's, when I say digital, that could be email, it could be text, it could be phone calls, it could really be any of those type of things. But, the one thing that I will probably say is, it seems like I am getting more text and phone calls. One of the things that I do, Tony, on my phone calls, I have an iPhone, but I'm able to set that up. So if you're actually not in my, if your number is not in my contact list, it automatically goes right to voicemail.
Yeah.
So
that's smart.
I don't know if there's a lot of other people out there that do that, but with just so many other, with so many of these robocalls coming in, and anyway, I don't even need to hear them. If they really need to get a hold of me, then they'll leave a message as well. So that's one of the things that I end up doing. And here's one, here's the other thing too, right? You really, whether it's email or whether it's text or whether it's phone, you also kind of want to be wary of any requests that are made for personal information or financial details or passwords, right? Typically legitimate organizations aren't going to ask for any of this it's sensitive information via email or phone unless you actually initiate the call to them. That's probably the biggest part of it. Someone calls you up and needs something, call them back. If it's a bank, call them back on the number that's on back of your ATM or your Visa debit card, right? Or if it's a credit card company and you're a little weary about it, call them back on the 800 number that's on back of the card. So that's probably one of the, but just be very suspicious on giving some of that information out, especially when it's coming in your way and you're not actually making the contact.
Well, to that point, Corey, and I remember it's been a couple of years, but this topic came up once before, and you were talking about it, and I remember you told me that big companies like Microsoft, Apple, and the government like IRS, Social Security, they're not going to call you directly, ever, for any reason.
That's correct.
So if somebody calls and says, this is the IRS, you owe this money, you need to pay now, it's not the IRS. They will send you something in the mail or they'll show up at your door. It's actually the same with sweepstakes, like Publishers Clearinghouse. That's a big scam. And my mother-in-law got taken in by that, but they're not going to call you. The Publishers Clearinghouse will only show up at your door and then let you know. They will have a representative or someone show up at your door, or they'll send you something in the mail that's legit, but they're not going to call you. And so watch out for those scams. I've been getting more and more of those.
Yeah, one of the popular ones, I want to say maybe last year, maybe it could have been 2 years ago by now, but, someone calling and your grandchild or your niece or your daughter got arrested and they want you to give them gift cards in order to get them out. So that probably would be the first part, would be the gift card.
Yeah. Anytime anybody calls and said they need gift cards to you to purchase gift cards to accomplish something, that's a scam for sure.
Yep. It kind of goes with this, but of course, one of the things that you definitely want to try to do is use strong, unique passwords as well. It can be a pain. It seems like, every website, this one's has to be 8-digit, capital, lowercase, a number, and some type of symbol. Then you go to another website and it's 11, and you go to another, it's 10. You get all kinds of crazy, so it's tough to be able to use one particular password anyway. But, there's, of course, Google has something out there where it can automatically generate a password for you. You can even kind of key in the criteria that you want, capital, lower, number, special character, whatever that is as well.
Sure.
But yeah, and of course, you do want to try to make it unique, because once they do have it, then of course they can hack into your account. I'm on Facebook a little bit. It seems like everyone's always getting hacked on Facebook. So
yeah, it's true, and it's funny because the scams can be they're so smart and the algorithms are so good and they can track your activity. So the scams can be oriented to you and your interests. And obviously I belong to a lot of music groups online because I collect records and I'm really into music. So a lot of the things I get, like on Facebook, I'll see a Facebook post that shows a guy with a huge Beatles vinyl box set, only $53 for like a 12-album limited edition box set.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would be, $600 at least at retail. But for $53, and then I look into it, and a lot of people are posting, tried this, it's a scam. They charge my card, never sent anything. So just because it's on Facebook as an officially a sponsored ad or an ad doesn't mean it's legitimate. That's a big one nowadays, are Facebook and emails. I get so many emails saying, hey, you bought tickets to this concert. You were entered into this drawing. Now you've won these tickets.
Yep.
And I do some research and I find out that's a scam. They want you to click on it. It'll install spyware on your computer. So you have to be really careful.
Yeah. I mean, when we start talking about emails, especially, or pop-ups coming up, right, about, any type of online advertisements, or they're promising some type of unrealistic reward, right, or a prize or financial gain or anything like that. the best thing to do before you click on it is see if you can read about it and maybe Google it. You're probably going to find out, just like you said a second ago, that it is some type of scam. One of the other things that I highly recommend that that a lot of individuals do, it's a little bit of a pain, but it only lasts a second, and that is is you really need to be able to enable this two-factor authentication if you have the capability to be able to do that. I'd highly recommend, if you can, do it to your cell phone rather than to an email address. Email could go as backup, but with that cell phone, it's going to go directly to you, or that you're going to receive that text message, and you're going to be able to use that every time you log into any particular website, especially financial websites as well.
Yeah, that's true. And you have to be very, very careful out there. Now, we should probably take a quick break, Corey, but before we do, I know this is just one aspect of watching your finances, and there are so many aspects to that you help your clients deal with. How can our listeners out there set up that complimentary consultation with you?
Yeah, for our listeners out there, the best way to do that is give us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can visit our website and contact us that way, and to schedule a complimentary no obligation meeting, with you. We're going to be able to create a financial plan if you don't have one. And if you do have one, we can be that second set of eyes and provide you a second opinion on your financial plan as well. We're here to help and guide you to make sure that you have the retirement that you want. And the best way to be able to do that is to have a financial plan in place. And again, just give us a call at 614-760-0670, or visit our website at safeharboroh.com to schedule that complimentary no obligation meeting with us.
All right. Well, thank you, Corey. And listeners, stay tuned. We're going to be right back with more of Financially Fit Radio and Corey Sickles after this.
There are 96 different months you could file for Social Security benefits. There's over 9,000 combinations if you are married. But that's not all. There's advanced filing strategies that can also be used. By the time you factor it all in, there are over 20,000 calculations that need to be run to find the best way to file for Social Security benefits. To request your complimentary Social Security Maximization Report from Safe Harbor Retirement Group, visit safeharboroh.com. The Social Security Maximization Report will tell you exactly what to do and exactly when to do it.
Welcome back to Financially Fit Radio. My name is Corey Sickles from Safe Harbor Retirement Group and Wealth Advisors. If you would like more information about what you hear during our show today, just give us a call at 614-760-0670, or you can always visit us online at safeharboroh.com. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions, or if you want to set up a face-to-face or a virtual meeting. And just remember, all meetings are complimentary and no obligation. Well, Tony, we've been really talking about, protecting yourself from digital scams out there, and it seems like there's a lot of them. One thing that I'm kind of nervous about is all this new AI, and how this AI is actually going to kind of play into all these scams going forward. Just like we talked about a couple episodes ago, Paul McCartney just created a whole a whole new song by using AI for John Lennon's voice and George Harrison's guitar, and even Ringo's drums, right? So,
right.
So now, how's that really going to play when they have your information, and now they're able to actually call and try to, maybe even, try to act like you when they're actually talking on the phone. So it's going to be so important to be able to make sure that you are keeping all this financial information as secure as you possibly can, and not give it out unless you really have to.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great point. And there's so much you have to really worry now with AI. I think we're going to see scams get even more detailed and intricate and harder to figure out. They're going to be even more convincing using AI more than likely as time goes on. So it really is. I mean, the future is a scary place, but we just have to embrace it and figure it out. And hopefully there will be new laws and measures put in place to help protect people from this. Corey, one thing, talking about digital scams, one thing that disturbs me the most about these scams, whether it's texts or emails that you talked about, is that they seem to target seniors more than anything.
They do. And, I think as we age, you become maybe a little bit more vulnerable. And I think it's more important to be able to make sure you're doing the right things, or maybe even eliminating, some of the access that, some of these people have access to, whether it's via phone call or via text or, via email as well. You just, you just don't want to be in a situation, especially with email, where you're just kind of clicking on everything that comes in, right? So you need to really just kind of pay attention on what you're being able to do. The other part of that is you always have to remember just to be cautious with sharing any type of personal information with anybody, right? So you want to limit that, especially for social media platforms, if that's what you're actually using as well, because cyber criminals can really exploit this information by being able to identity theft and things like that as well. One of the things I would highly recommend too is, as you age, I mean, I'm in this position right now, I'm 54. I don't go out and apply for credit too often. Right. So one of the things I do is I have all the credit bureaus freezed. So
that's a good idea.
So if I have apps where if I want to go unfreeze it, I can go do that, but they're all frozen. And if they do try to do a credit check, or someone tries to go in and get a credit card in my name or whatever, it's going to get declined because they're not going to be able to do any type of credit report on me.
That's good. That's really good to know. I think that's great advice for our listeners out there. That's something I need to do. In fact, I know you've mentioned that to me before, and I really need to do that. So my credit can't be accessed like that without my knowledge. That's huge. Well, Corey, that's a great tip, and we've covered a few in the show today.
Yeah.
What do you have for us next?
The other thing I think a lot of people really should also do is, it seems like everyone has Wi-Fi anymore, right? So you're always connecting on Wi-Fi. Now, on my phone, when I connect to a network, it's going to tell me whether it's secure or not. So one of the things that you really need to really think about is, if it's not secure, is I don't think you want to do you don't want to log into your bank, or you don't want to log in, to some type of financial thing at that point in time. If you want to log into Facebook, that's fine, or whatever you want to be able to do there, or surf. But I don't think you'd want to be really passing any type of information, or have someone access to any of your financial information, if you're on a public network that is not secure. And again, there's ways around that. You can buy an app or whatever, so you actually have your own private network, so you can encrypt on, if you are on some type of internet connection on a Wi-Fi network. And another thing you can also check too is, when you visit websites, the very first thing is it's going to say HTTP, right? And really what you want to do is you want to make sure that it has the HTTPS. That S means it's really for security, right? And it's also going to have a little padlock icon, if you actually look in the address bar. Now, when you see that, that means that website that you're on has a valid SSL certificate, and more importantly, it encrypts all the data between your browser and the website. So that's something else to look at. And one thing I will say is, when you do get an email, you can just see who actually sent it. You'll be amazed on what that email, it's going to say it came from Microsoft, or it came from Apple, or it came from Google, or it's going to come from, Best Buy or whatever else. But when you actually go in and when you actually see that who it actually came from, you're going to see some bogus email address that tells you don't click anything on that particular email that you actually just received.
Yeah, and another thing about those emails, like you say, is look for misspellings. If stuff is misspelled, because a lot of these are generated by, like you said, AI bots, what they call robots or bots, and online bots, or they're generated in foreign countries. Like there's a lot of spammers that come out of Russia that try to target and attack. Yeah. So their spelling, their English of these people they aren't great. They're either a robot or the computer's generating it, so it's not going to get everything right. So if it's not proper English and it's not spelled correctly, it's not official. So
that's correct.
Don't click on it. But I like your idea of HTTP. Look for the S on the end. That means it's a secure site. And then make sure the word before the .com is the actual. Make sure it says Amazon.com or Facebook.com. And at the end of a long email address, it doesn't say Facebook.
Right.
And then some weird word or series of letters .com, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, I think anybody anymore does a lot of their email checking on their phones and things like that. And
sure.
For me, it's pretty easy. When you get the email, you just click on that from person. It's going to show you the address that it came from.
Yeah.
And if it's not Amazon.com or something, whoever you're actually purchasing that from or what company that is, then you want to delete that and not even do anything with that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think one of the other things that you want to be able to do too, Tony, is you want to be able to make sure that you're educating yourself on this as well. You want to stay informed about the latest scams, the techniques that are used by these cyber, the cyber criminals. So you regularly want to, read up on your common scams, whether they're doing phishing techniques or other fraudulent activities. Awareness is a crucial defense against, falling victim to any of these digital scams. And really one of the best things that you can do is you can actually go to the ohioattorneygeneral.gov website. And they're going to actually, you can report it. B, they're going to have some of the latest scams that are actually taking place that you can kind of keep on. And there's probably going to be some links from that website where you can also educate yourself on some of the some of the top scams that are taking place right now as well.
Yeah, there you go. That's great. It's good to know there are resources out there so you can look into it. And I always type in, got an email titled this, is it a scam? And you'll usually see some forums where people are talking about, yes, this is, and you can't just read the first thing that comes up. If somebody says, no, it's not, make sure you confirm it and look a number of different places and a number of different comments. That's what I like about Facebook is because if something is posted there, they have to allow comments. And in the comments, usually there's somebody that said, don't do this, it's a scam.
That's correct. You can, some of the other websites you can also visit, Tony, is you can also go out to the Federal Trade Commission.gov, consumer.ftc.gov. They're going to have some scams out there that you can actually, so just so you can kind of keep track of. They're always inventing new ways to be able to do it. And you're going to want to be able to make sure that you're, keeping up to it. But I think, the biggest part with all this, when we start talking about all this, is you really just need to kind of trust your instinct.
Yes.
Right? If something feels off or feels suspicious, then trust your instinct. Don't click on anything or don't react to it. If you receive a communication that raises doubts or asks for definitely sensitive information independently, verify that source before you respond or take any action.
Yeah.
And when we start talking about social security numbers especially, I'm not going to give that to anybody unless I'm actually calling them.
I think you've made a lot of great points on the show today, Corey, but we're almost out of time. Let our listeners know before we go how they can get a hold of you and get a financial plan in place.
Yeah, no problem, Tony. For our listeners out there, just give us a call at 614-760-0670. Or you can always visit us online at safeharboroh.com. Remember, any meeting that you have with us is complimentary. There's no obligation. We're here to help you have the retirement that you want. And really the best way to do that is have a solid financial plan. If you don't have one, we can put one in place for you. If you do have one, we can provide you that second opinion. Remember, again, all meetings are complimentary with no obligation. All you have to do is give us a call at 614-760-0670 or visit us online at safeharboroh.com to schedule that meeting with us.
All right. Sounds great, Corey. And listeners, that does it for today's episode of Financially Fit Radio.
Join us again soon for another episode of Financially Fit Radio.
Thank you for listening to Financially Fit Radio. Don't pay too much for taxes or retire without a sound income plan. For more information, contact Corey Sickles at Safe Harbor Retirement Group.
Call 614-760-0670 or visit their website at financiallyfitoh.com.
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.